Well, these are some difficult and challenging times. I'm experiencing that right now. Hi, I'm Ron Price. I got to tell you, this is the third time I'm trying to record this for you folks, so I hope it's going to work this time. I want to share with you 10 tips that help you keep your family and your sanity intact during this coronavirus crisis and beyond. To say that we're in difficult, interesting, challenging times would be the understatement of a lifetime, I think. But there are some specific things we can do to help us maintain our calm, our cool, strengthen relationships rather than damage them. So let's just get right to it. Um, in 2016, I wrote a book, Play Nice in Your Sandbox at Work. I had written a newspaper column for 5 years. I'd been a mediator for 20 some years at that point and been to all sorts of trainings. And through that experience, I wrote a book helping people to prevent conflict when possible, resolve conflict when they should. Play nice in your sandbox. 2018, I came out with Play Nice in Your Sandbox at Home. Again, same thing, prevent conflict at home, resolve conflict at home. And so from that experience, I want to share with you some tips that I think are going to make a difference. So thanks for joining me. Let's hope this works this time, shall we? Hey, to succeed in life, I think you need three things. I think you need a wishbone, I think you need a backbone, and I think you need a funny bone. Let me just make sure this is recording. Yes, it looks like it is. I did it yesterday, didn't record. Tried it first thing this morning, did not convert. I don't want to get into it. But you got to have a funny bone. You got to learn to laugh, because I'm telling you folks, laughter is a great medicine. It's a great medicine. Now, maybe you don't believe that. Let me tell you some of the things that laughter can do for you. Laughter releases endorphins. Those are those feel-good chemicals that we need more of. Laughter is going to get you more of them. It helps to increase oxygen intake. Of course, we need that. Replenishes and invigorates the cells. It boosts immunity. Boy, don't we need that these days in the midst of the sickness that's going on around us. Helps to relieve stress. And again, we need that so much. It raises your pain threshold. It lowers your blood pressure. Now, please, if you're on blood pressure medication, don't say, well, Dr. Ron said I don't need my blood pressure medication anymore. That would be foolhardy. But here's what I'd love to challenge you to do. Go to your doctor. Get a baseline. Where's your blood pressure right now? And over the next 3 to 6 months, focus on laughing more. Then go back, retest. Maybe you can lower your medication, if not get off it. I don't know. Let me show you more benefits of laughter. It reduces stress hormones such as cortisol and adrenaline. Now, folks, we need those, but in excess, they can cause problems. It gives a workout to the diaphragm and abdominal, respiratory, facial, leg, and back muscles. Have you ever heard the expression, I laughed so hard my sides hurt? Folks, that is literally true. You've just exercised muscles that you haven't used in a while. And so, yeah, it results in some discomfort, some pain, but it's worth it. The pain will go away. The results of the laughter, the benefits will continue. Increases the response of tumor and disease-killing cells, such as gamma interferon and T cells. Again, we need more of those. Defends against respiratory infections, even reducing the frequency of colds by immunoglobulin in the saliva. Folks, there can't be any doubt, any question. Laughter is a good medicine. So I suggest you laugh more. My wife would like that picture. She's a cat lady. But here's a sad statistic I want to share with you. They've done research, different studies. This is one I saw. The average preschooler laughs or smiles how many times a day? 400 is what I saw. Now, how do they know that? What do they follow kids around? There's 1, there's 2, there's 3. I don't know how they know that. I don't even know who they are. But those of you who are around preschoolers know that they're laughing a bunch. But by the time we reach age 35, which is nothing, that number drops to 15 times a day. Am I the only one that thinks that's depressing? Folks, tip number 1, laugh regularly, heartily, as much as you can. Tip number 2, be healthy. Now that might seem like, oh, duh, thanks, Ron. But I want to share with you something called Clean Start, developed by my friend Ron Johnson. It's an acronym that I believe is going to give you areas of your life that you can focus on to help make sure that you are as healthy as you can be and as you deserve to be. The C stands for clean water. By the way, excuse me. Just thought I'd give an object lesson. Clean water. You know you're supposed to drink a lot of water, do you? If you do, great. If not, maybe focus on that. The brain thrives on water, needs water to function well. Our bodies need clean water. The L is loving relationships. Folks, we're not created to be loners and by ourselves, and we especially are finding that out during this crisis. We need to be in close harmony, loving relationships in our lives. And if you don't, or if they're not working right, might be an area you want to address. E is exercise. There's no surprise. And don't think you have to go run marathons or, do all this huge stuff. No, but get moving on a regular basis. Join a gym if you need to, hire a coach, whatever you need to do. Make sure you're getting the right amount and right kind of exercise for your situation. A is air, fresh air. Again, we are not created to live our whole lives in buildings. Get outside once in a while. Breathe deep, some fresh air. Excuse me. N is nutrition. And again, I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not going to tell you what you ought to eat, but I'll tell you this. The standard American diet, you've heard this before, is sad. The items that we put into our body, thinking they're nutrition, pay attention to nutrition. The S is sunshine. Again, get outdoors. Create that vitamin D naturally by being in the sun. Don't overdo it. Don't think you have to burn to a crisp to get value. No, but spend time outdoors getting that sunshine. T is temperance. That's one we don't like sometimes, but moderation. You don't want too much or too little of a good thing. You want to practice moderation, temperance. A is an attitude of gratitude. Oh, there is so much research that says if you will focus on and appreciate the good qualities of your life, and by the way, they're there, you got plenty of them. If you'll focus on those, you're going to reap all sorts of benefits, emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, you name it. Have an attitude of gratitude. In fact, wake up every morning, take an index card and write down 5 things that you're grateful for, 5 things that you appreciate about your life. Put that in your pocket. And then throughout the day, just pull it out and look at it and remind yourself in the midst of the turmoil, the dis-ease that we have, a lot of things to be grateful for. The R is rest. As a nation, we don't sleep enough. We don't laugh enough. We don't sleep enough. Make sure you're paying attention to your rest. By the way, a trick there, somebody told me about liquid magnesium. I spray it on my feet or on my legs. Don't do it every night. But I'll tell you what, the times I do, I wake up going, whoa, where have I been? I was in some deep sleep. And the T is trust. Trust in a higher power, God, or whatever your definition. Again, we function best when we get outside of ourselves and trust in something greater than ourselves. Hey, if you'd like more information, there's Ron's email address right there, sweetpilgrim@yahoo.com. Ron told me he'll be happy to send anyone a detail. He goes into more elaboration, a paragraph on each of those 10 tips. And I know you'll be glad you got that. So send him an email, sweetpilgrim@yahoo.com. Tip number 3. Oh, this is a big one. Beware the CIV. Let me tell you something I know about you. You have negative, terrible, horrible thoughts come into your mind on occasion. And don't worry, your secret is safe with me, but guess what? We all do. We have thoughts come into our mind. Somebody once estimated we have 60,000 thoughts come into our head on any given day. Now, how do they know that? But again, a lot of those thoughts, folks, from childhood have been, I'm not this enough, or I'm not that enough, or I'm too much this, or I'm too much that. Dr. Robert Firestone and his daughter, Dr. Lisa Firestone, coined the term CIV, the critical inner voice. I'm going to suggest, folks, that you make it a habit to take time to focus on your thoughts. Think about what you're thinking about. And if it's a negative, critical thought, Get rid of it. Take it to the recycle bin in your mind and delete it as soon as possible. You do not have to participate in every conversation that starts in your mind. Can I say that again? You do not have to participate in every conversation that starts in your mind. I'm getting better and better at this all the time, telling myself, shut up. That's not true. I don't need to go there. And I redirect my thoughts in a better direction. Folks, laugh more. Pay attention to your health. Watch out for the CIV. I'm telling you, this is going to help you to keep your family intact and your sanity intact as we get through this crisis, which, by the way, is going to end. I don't know what kind of normal we're going to get back to when it's over, but it'll be better than it is right now, I promise you. Tip number 4, look for the good. This is such a big one. You know, these days we're forced into close proximity with our family. We're spending much more time together than we have in the past. And under these challenging circumstances, it is so easy to see the flaws, the faults, the shortcomings of those we are closest to. Don't do that. Look for the good. Realize that nobody's perfect. You know the mistake you made, by the way, those of you who got married? I'm going to tell you right now the mistake you made. You married an imperfect human being. I don't know what you were thinking. And guess what? If you and they produced children, you produced imperfect children. And while that should be a duh, let me just share with you that if you expect imperfect people to come together on a regular basis in close proximity and be able to have a perfect, harmonious relationship, you're dreaming. It's not going to happen. Nobody's perfect. We all have our negatives and our positives. But why do we spend so much time focusing on the negatives? Why do we do that? Maybe because we're listening to the own negative voice in our own minds. I don't know. It's a theory. But I'm going to challenge you. Spend some time looking for the good. Focus on the positives. Enjoy them. Let the people know. Hey, I noticed this about you and I appreciate it. They'll be glad. You'll be glad. Number 5. Oh man, we're halfway through already. But you know what? I saved some of the best for last. I hope you'll stick with us through the end. I'm promising you, you're going to get some information that's going to make a difference. This one's huge. Tip number 5. Call a timeout the right way, not the wrong way. Did you know there's a wrong way to call timeout? And in fact, you've done it in the past, I'm willing to wager, but it does more harm than good. Now, when you're upset with another human being and tensions are starting to rise and agitation and what have you, you need to call a timeout. You can't just continue along that line and expect it to go any positive direction. But you got to call a timeout the right way. And by that, I mean, don't just storm off and say timeout. Announce to the other person when you will come back, when the timeout will be over, and when you will engage with them in a conversation. See, in your mind, when you storm off, you're rejecting the argument. That's a good thing usually. But in their mind, they're wondering, well, where are they going? Are they rejecting me? Are they rejecting the relationship? You see, if they care about you, they've got to come after you to want to talk, which is going to further exasperate you, make you want to walk even further and faster, which is going to make them chase even harder. And on it goes, the dance between the talker and the walker. This is how you fix that. The walker just says, hold on, I can't talk to you right now. I'm too upset. Give me some time. I'll be back at 2 o'clock. Or let's talk about it at dinner this evening or whatever. Schedule the time. You want at least 30 minutes. Give your body a chance to calm down. You got all that cortisol and adrenaline rushing through your system. All your systems are on hyper alert. Calm down. 30 minutes at least. And no more than 24 hours except by mutual agreement. I did a wedding some years back and I did the premarital preparation. I prepared them for marriage. And I told them, I want you to have a timeout signal. It's going to serve you well. And so they came in the next week. I said, what's your timeout signal? They said, red. I said, red? Yeah, redirect emotional distress. I said, oh, I like that. I said, how about if we tweak that a little bit? I want to anyway. Code red. Code red, danger. If we continue to try to talk right now in the state of agitation that we're in, it's not going to go well. We know that. Code red, 30 minutes. Code red, 2 o'clock. Code red, whatever the time is. I had another family, their timeout signal was pineapples. I said, pineapples? Yeah, it makes us laugh. Folks, come up with a family timeout signal. When you're back at work, by the way, work teams need a timeout signal. Something that says, I'm not at my best right now, or we're not at our best. Let's not try to do this now. Let's calm down. Let's come back and re-engage later. By the way, there's one of two things you can say to another adult. You can say, I need a timeout, or we need a timeout. What should you never say to another adult? Yeah, I heard that. You need a timeout. Ooh, you'll find out how much they do. But folks, I'm telling you, I promise you, you practice this tip. It's going to save you so much grief, so much aggravation. You're not going to say things that you know you shouldn't say, but at the moment you feel like it. You're not going to do things that you really, if you were in your thinking brain, you wouldn't think. You wouldn't do, I should say. Call a timeout. Okay? Okay. Number 6, button guard. This is an adaptation I made from the book Verbal Judo. Boy, if you can find it in print, get a copy of Verbal Judo. I highly recommend it, written by George Thompson and Peter Jenkins. George Thompson came from a law enforcement background, so when in his book, he called it trigger guard. But for most of us, I think button guard is more appropriate, and it's a 3-step process. So I want you to think for a moment, who pushes your buttons? And I don't want names, and certainly don't point at people who are near you. But what types of people push your buttons? Do braggarts push your buttons? Rude people, inconsiderate people. One of mine, people who think they know it all. They're awful annoying to those of us who really do. Okay, bad joke. But the first step in the button guard process is identify what types of people push your buttons. The second step is you give them a name. And I'm going to counsel you to give them a polite name, a courteous name, not an insulting name, because it might slip out in public someday, and I don't want you to be embarrassed. You identify your pusher, you name them, and the third step is you own them. You have taken away their ability to push your buttons. Let me show you how this works. I learned this, 30 years ago. And I'm telling you the truth, it may have saved my life. We'll never know. One of my bad habits is I drive faster than I should. I've slowed down in recent years, but I still often find myself in that left lane of traffic, coming behind a vehicle that is driving slower than I wish them to drive. So I will signal my lights, flash them, which is my way of saying, hello, neighbor. I hope you're having a wonderful day. By the way, I wish to drive faster than you. Would you mind pulling over, please? Because slower traffic is supposed to, keep right. You have seen those signs. And many times they'll pull right over. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't see you. Be glad to. I speed up. I wave to them. Go on my way. Sometimes they wouldn't pull over. I'd say, you know what? They didn't see me. I would give the benefit of the doubt. That's one of my core values that I try to live by. I'd signal one more time. God help them if they didn't pull over, because I would. I'd signal right, I'd pull over, I'd speed up, I'd get past them, I'd signal left, and I'd pull right back in front of them. And depending on how angry or stupid I was, I'd certainly take my foot off the gas. I might put it right on the brake. Now stay with me. What's my blood pressure doing at that moment? Yeah, rising. What are my teeth doing? All gritting. What are my fists? I'm working myself up into a tizzy over somebody who doesn't know how to drive. Hold on. I thought I turned off that alarm. I did. I'm working myself up, getting all agitated. Somebody I don't even know. And then a thought comes into my mind. They're already driving a lethal weapon. They could harm me with their vehicle. What if they're armed on top of that? Folks, I'm putting my life in danger, in jeopardy. And my wife oftentimes is sitting right by my side, total innocent victim. I'm putting her life at risk as well. Not too bright. not too bright. So I read button guard and I decided to apply it. I identified the people who drive in the left lane slower than I wish them to push my buttons. So I gave them a name. You ready? Lefty La Lane. It's a nice name. Kind of rolls off your tongue. It's not insulting or defamatory in any way. I now own Lefty. And I'm telling you the truth, for the last 30 years, and all but 2 occasions that I can think of, I come up behind somebody driving slower than I wish. I'll signal one time. If they don't pull over, folks, I've conditioned myself, trained myself to say, that's Lefty. You are not going to change Lefty. You're not your place to teach them how to drive. Just signal right, speed up, and go on. And that's what I do. What's my blood pressure doing? Nothing. What are my teeth doing? Fists? Nothing. I own Lefty. I have taken away Lefty's ability to push my buttons. And I got to tell you, Lefty gets around. Lefty's an old man sometimes, a young woman, a teenager, sometimes driving a Ford pickup, sometimes driving a Chevy van, sometimes driving whatever. But I'll tell you what, for 30 years, and again, all but 2 situations that I can think of, I was not at my best. I came up, I signaled twice, they didn't pull over. I pulled over, sped up, got in front of them, and I said, what are you doing? What are you doing? That's Lefty. It's not your place to teach Lefty. Pray for him if you want, but just get out of here. And I went on my way. Think of who pushes your buttons. Put up that guard so they can't do that anymore. They might try, but they won't succeed. Okay? All right, let's go to number 7. Oh, challenge and validate your perceptions. Folks, we operate by perceptions. In fact, when I do training in the workplace, I'll often ask people, perception is reality. You've heard that said before. Perception is reality. And I'll ask them to vote, is that true or not true? I'll give them a few moments. I'll give you a few moments. True or not true? And they'll raise their hands. And then I'll call on somebody who said it's true, and I'll say, that's the right answer. Why? And they'll say something to the effect of, well, if we perceive something to be that case, then yeah, that's the way it is. We believe that. I say, you're right. And then I turn to somebody who said it's false. I say, that's the correct answer. Why? They say, because we can be wrong. Our perceptions could be inaccurate. But folks, I'm telling you, we act on our perceptions and we don't stop to check and see, are they still accurate? Maybe they were at a time, but people do change. Contrary to what you've been told, people do change if they want to, if they choose to. But if we're holding on to old perceptions, if we put people in a box, they're not getting out of that box unless we lift the lid. Let me tell you a story. I heard this from Dr. Covey. I facilitate the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People course on occasion. Dr. Covey tells a story. He was riding on a subway. I don't think he mentions the city. I've always pictured New York. It was a kind of quiet morning, relatively quiet, not many riders on the car, until it stopped at one of the stations. The doors open, a guy walks in, and he sits himself right next to Dr. Covey, or pretty close to Dr. Covey. He's followed by 5 or 6 or 7 kids of various ages and stages, and they don't sit down at all. They're running up and down the car. They're swinging around the poles. They're grabbing newspapers out of people's hands. They're being a royal mess is what they're being. And the guy is just sitting there, totally oblivious to what's going on. And Dr. Covey's looking at the guy and he's looking at the situation and he starts to think exactly what you or I would think, which is, yeah, come on, buddy. Get a grip on your kids. Can't you see what they're doing here? And he summons up the courage to say something to the effect of, well, sir, your kids are being pretty rambunctious this morning, aren't they? And the guy kind of snaps to. He's been like in a trance. And he looks down and he sees his kids acting up and turns back to Dr. Covey and he says, yeah, I guess they are. He says, we just left the hospital. Their mom died an hour ago, and I guess they're not handling it very well. And to tell you the truth, neither am I. Whoa. Some of you just felt in your body a dramatic change. You went from, come on, mister, what's the matter with you, to, oh, I'm so sorry. What can I do to help? Just that quick when you got a little bit more information. Folks, check your perceptions. I had one just yesterday. I went to Walmart because I had to. I'm trying to practice social distancing. And by the way, this crisis will pass, but in the meantime, take the prudent precautions. Please be sensible. Don't be fanatical necessarily, and don't panic, but be reasonable. That's my suggestion for whatever it's worth. But they had some disinfectant wipes, which my wife has become a big fan of since you can't get them. Well, they had some. They had plenty. And I didn't see any sign that said there was a limit. So I took 3. I didn't take 10 or 12 or 20. I took 3. She mentioned she likes to have them in different rooms of the house. Okay. Well, later on, and I couldn't do that, by the way. I got to the front and they said, oh, no, you can only buy 1. I said, well, there was no sign. Nothing said, well, I'm sorry, you can only buy 1. Later on, I found out there is a sign. It's only about this big. All right, maybe this big. It's not big. That says, due to the crisis, whatever, you can only buy 1 of these. Folks, I never saw that sign. I never saw that sign the first time. But if somebody had seen me with the cart pushing with 3 of those, they'd think, oh, who does he think he is? Why does he think he gets to buy more and nobody else does? They could have made all these judgments about me that would have been totally wrong, totally inaccurate. I never saw the sign. If I had seen the sign, folks, I would have taken just 1. Trust me on that. So check your perceptions about yourself, by the way, about others, about your work. Take some time to think over perceptions that drive you. Are they accurate? Keep them. If they're not accurate, get rid of them. All right, what are we up to? I think 8? Yeah. Oh, here's another Covey concept. How are we doing for time? Oh, yeah, we're doing good. The emotional bank account. I love this concept. In any bank account, if you make more deposits, you put more money in, that balance is going to rise. If you make more withdrawals, take more money out, that balance is going to go down. Duh, that's not rocket science. But here's the deal. You have an emotional bank account with every member of your family, with close associates at work or perhaps other places. You don't have emotional bank accounts with strangers or people you deal with just on a random basis, but you do with those close to you. And I wonder, are you making more deposits? Or are you making more withdrawals? If you're making more deposits, the balance will rise. Your relationship should be healthy and well and enjoyable and sustainable. If you're making too many withdrawals, your relationship is in trouble. Now, here's an interesting question for you. Suppose you wanted to improve or even just maintain the health and integrity of a relationship. And suppose you could either do one or the other. You could A, make more deposits, or B, you could make fewer withdrawals. Which would you do? I need some more water. Think about it. Which one? Again, when I do trainings in the workplace, I'll have them vote. And most hands go up, oh, A, I'd make more deposits. Some hands go up, B, I'd make fewer withdrawals. Folks, the correct answer is B. The correct answer is B, and let me tell you why. There's a researcher named John Gottman from the University of Washington. I think he's retired now, but he says that the impact of withdrawals is far more powerful than deposits. In fact, he says it takes between 5 and 15 deposits just to undo the damage of 1 withdrawal. Did you hear what I said? Let me put it to you this way. Let's say this is where the relationship is. I don't know where good or bad is. This is where we're at, and somebody makes a withdrawal. You can't just make 1 deposit and say, okay, everything's even again. No. Again, between 5 and 15 deposits just to get back to neutral. So here's what's going on. We're going along, somebody makes a withdrawal. Oh, I'm so sorry, I'll try to do better. Oh, but then they make another withdrawal. Not because they're evil or horrible people, life. And oh, I'll try to do better, I'm sorry. Oh, yep, another withdrawal. And folks, over time, there can be so many withdrawals that there's not enough lifetime left to make enough deposits to get back to even. It's so far out of balance. We can't make that many deposits unless, boy, can I throw in one more? Unless both parties decide, you know what, we're going to do a do-over. We're going to start again. We're going to start fresh. Wipe the slate clean. We are not going to forgive and forget. Forgive and forget is one of the dumbest things you've ever heard. You cannot do it. Your brain maintains a memory of every event that has ever occurred in your life, assuming we don't have brain damage. But if I were to ask you, who's your first or second grade teacher? Most of you can come up with a picture, a name, just like that, and you haven't thought of that person in decades. It's not forgive and forget, it's forgive and move on. It's deciding to wipe the slate clean, putting the past behind us. We're going to move on. We're going to go in a new direction, focusing on the deposits that we want to make, focusing on the withdrawals that we want to avoid. By the way, an extra tip on this, make sure the deposits are what the other person would consider a deposit. You know, I like to play Frisbee golf. If I say to my wife, hey, I'm going to take you Frisbee golfing, she would not consider that a deposit at all. She's not into Frisbee golf. So I've got to find a deposit that she would define. Whether I would or not doesn't matter. You can go to Gary Chapman, Dr. Gary Chapman, the 5 love languages. Great concept that he's developed. And you can go to his website, 5 Love Languages. You can do a quick survey. I think it's 20 questions. I haven't been there in a while, but it'll spit out for you what your love language might be if you do that together, and have your kids do it too if they're old enough. Figure out what everybody's love language is, make deposits that they're going to appreciate, cut out the withdrawals, quit coughing, sorry, and you're going to see your relationships improve. Fair enough? Fair enough. All right, number 9, what's that? Oh, yeah. Number 9, I have 3 recommendations for you. Play is the first one. Play is the second one. You're probably on to me. Play is the third one. Folks, we're not playing enough. You folks, most of you, you made the mistake, you grew up. You stopped laughing and you stopped playing. Not all of you. I'm not insulting you, please, but a friend of mine, whenever they ask her, where did you grow up? She says, I'm trying to do it in Farmington, New Mexico. What a great concept. I love that. I'm trying to grow up in Farmington, New Mexico. Now, I want to be an adult. Come on, I want to be responsible for myself, a contributing member of society. But why grow up? What comes after that? We lose the ability to play. And for too many, life has become raising the kids and paying the bills. Or is it raising the bills and paying the kids? One or the other, maybe both. But you know what I'm saying? We need to carve out time, be intentional about taking time to play if we want healthy lives, healthy relationships. So here's a tip I want to share with you. This is called the Recreational Enjoyment Inventory. You see it right there, Recreational Enjoyment Inventory. It's developed by Dr. Willard Harley. And you can download this, it's free. And once you do, the instructions are there, but basically this is for folks who are married. The husband's going to go down the husband's column, the wife's going to go down the wife's column, and you're going to look at every activity. I think there's 7 pages. I don't know how many activities there are, but a wide range. And you're going to rate each activity -3, I don't ever want to do that, to +3, oh man, I wish we could do that pretty often, pretty regular. You'll do it separately, then you'll come together, you'll combine your answers, and you're looking for the 6s. You're looking for those activities that you both said, you know what, yeah, I'd like to do that often. And folks, schedule the time. Every month, go to your calendars and block off time. You know what, this is our fun time. And if other people call you and say, oh, are you free? Nope, sorry, I'm committed. You don't have to say what it is. I got a guy recently, Mark LeBlanc. He says, you know what, don't bother calling me on Wednesday evenings at 6:30. I'm out on a date with my wife. It's in stone, it's in concrete. Now, if you're dying, yeah, I'll probably call 911 for you, but I'm going on the date with my wife. Schedule those times, protect them, build hedges of protection around them so that you're having fun. On this list, by the way, they give you some blanks. You can add activities that maybe they didn't cover. I added geocaching. Well, I don't know if you know geocaching, but do do a web search for that. It's a great family activity that couples could do, or friends, family. And I'm not going to take the time now to get into it, but geocaching, simple and fun. Let me share with you some other tips. Again, some of these you might enjoy, some not. I'm just trying to get your creative juices going to get you thinking about how you might have fun. Here's one, play Mad Libs. You know, I played Mad Libs as a kid, and I thought it was extinct. I thought it had gone the way of Leave It to Beaver and some of the old TV shows. I'm dating myself now. But you can still buy Mad Libs today. And what it is, whoever's leading the exercise says, give me a noun. Somebody call out a noun. Somebody call out an adjective. Somebody call out an adverb. By the way, in this age of homeschooling that we're doing more and more of, a nice way to keep up on English skills, but you just call out a part of speech. And whoever's, you write them down. And then what happens is it's a paragraph. It's a story that you read, but then you fill in as you're reading along those suggestions that have been thrown in. Makes no sense whatsoever, but often very comical. Play Mad Libs. Set up a family jigsaw puzzle. You know, again, a lost art. Families don't come together. We're all on our cell phones. We're watching TV and not interacting. Not my place to judge, folks, but consider a jigsaw puzzle or a model. I used to love to make models when I was a kid. And during the time you're doing this, engage with each other. Here's an extra tip for you. Play high, low, learn. High, low, learn. Every member of the family plays. What was the high point of your day today? Or what do you expect is going to be the high point of your day today if you do it early in the morning? What was the low point, or what do you anticipate might be the low point of your day today? And it's best to do this in the evening. What did you learn today? Or I guess you could say, what do you hope to learn today? But high, low, learn. Don't ask kids, what'd you do in school today? Nothing. What'd you learn today? Nothing. What was the high point of your day? And mom and dad participate, kids participate. What was the low point of your day today? What'd you learn today? And don't just race through this so you can check it off. Talk about it. Oh, that must have been fun. Tell me more about that. Or, oh man, that was sad. How'd you feel when that happened? Get to know each other on a deeper level. High, low, learn. If you're daring, sign up for the joke or the pun of the day. Some of them have warped sense of humors. I'll just put it to you that way. Some of them pretty funny, and might be a good thing. Here's one I love. Sporkle.com. Write that down. Write that down. Sporkle.com or Kahoot, and actually replace that. It should be Kahoot.com. But these are places where you can go and do quizzes and puzzles and games and exercises as a family, as a work team. I know on Sporkle you can make them easy, medium, hard. I'm not so familiar with Kahoot, but Kahoot I know you play with your cell phones. And so you go to Kahoot.com to set up an account, but then you can set up the exercise and people vote by their cell phones, and a graph will come up showing who's in the lead, who got it right, who got it wrong, what have you. But just some fun exercises. Don't, make it competitive if you want, but don't get too carried away. The emphasis is on fun, not on winning or losing. Same with this one. Rock, paper, scissors, or odds and evens. There's a certain workshop I do in the workplace called Humor, Fun, and Laughter in the Workplace. And at one point, I'll get them to pair up with another individual. And I'll say, all right, you ready? Play rock, paper, scissors, go. And some of them will go, what? Most people get right into it. They haven't played rock, paper, scissors in years and years. But I'm telling you, the laughter that emanates from that room, it's universal. It happens every time. Rock, paper, scissors. Or odds and evens. That's where you call out odds or evens, and you go 1, 2, 3, shoot. And you each put out numbers from 0 to 5. And you add them up, and you total them up. And it's either they're going to be an even number of fingers or an odd number of fingers. If you call odd and there's 7 fingers, you won. If you call odd and there's 6 fingers, you lost. Odds and evens. Not rocket science, folks, but fun. Play together. Here's another one. Celebrate weird holidays. Just Google weird holidays. How do people come up with these? Don't ask me. I saw one recently. We just had National Grilled Cheese Sandwich Day. What? Some of them are pretty bizarre, off the wall for that matter. Some of them, you know what? Hey, we could do that. We could dress up for that. We could act that out. We could play. We could celebrate that day in our own way. What a fun way to do as a family or even as a work team. Celebrate weird holidays. But here's my favorite. Here's my favorite. I just got this, in fact, from that Mark LeBlanc fellow that dates his wife every Wednesday. He didn't know where he got it, so I can't give credit past that. But take a pad and paper, not right now. Take a pad and paper and write down the top 100 events of your life. And don't get hung up on the number. If you only do 25 or 50 or 75, if you do 150, 200, I don't care. It's not the number. But think back over your life of events, episodes, achievements, awards, things that brought you joy, things that brought you fulfillment. Times of, oh, you could relive those again and again and again. It would be fine with you. Write them down. Each member of the family do this. Now, your young kids, they're going to struggle to come up with 100 if they're only 3 years old. But you know what? I bet they could come up with a couple or few. 5, I don't know. But everybody does it. If you're married, you and your spouse could do and focus just on our marriage. What are the top 50 events that we've shared together? You know, some of those will probably be on your individual lists as well. That's all right. You know, birth of your child, your wedding, whatever. But you write down the list. And then you schedule time to come together and say, give us one, tell us. And you describe that event. And you relish it and you add the emotion. You don't have to be a hand actor, but relive, feel the emotions you felt at the time, because you will. You will. They'll come back to you. And the family members will join in your joy and let it be a discussion. Oh man, what happened then? And how, tell me more, and relive those positive, enjoyable events, and take turns and go around and rekindle the joy, the happiness that you had, that you will have again. I hope you're keeping some during this crisis again. This too shall pass. But this 100-item exercise, I'm telling you, is going to give you peace, going to give you joy. It's going to be nice, a nice counter to all the doom and gloom when you think back, you know what? No, life's been pretty good. It's a rough spot right now, but it's going to be good again. It's all right? All right. We are up to number 10. I might have saved the best for last. I don't know. I'll let you decide that. But by the way, again, I'm going to remind you, I hope again, but I want to remind you now, don't try to do all 10 of these at one time. You will fail. You will fail. Research I saw from the Covey Corporation, if you try to take on 4 to 10 new practices, new habits, changes in your life, 4 to 10 at one time, you might do one with excellence, maybe. If you do 10 or more, you'll do none. If you do 4 to 10, you might do one. If you do 1, 2, or 3, you can focus on those 1, 2, or 3 and probably accomplish them all. So be selective, please. But this might be one that you want to focus on. Communicate proactively. Communicate proactively. You know, when I used to do relationship coaching, which I still do some, but not much, I'd have people write down the top 2 or 3 things that are broken in their relationship. The top 2 or 3 items that are not going well. And after a while, I started saying, besides poor communication, because everybody would put, oh, we can't communicate. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You've just forgotten how to do it well. Another problem with communication, by the way, is we make the mistake of thinking just because I said something a certain way, the other person understood it the same way. Again, back to the perceptions that we talked about earlier. But folks, I'm telling you, you can say 1, 2, 3 as clearly as possible, and the other person might hear 2, 3, 4. You can say 1, 2, 3 succinctly. Nobody could possibly miss it, but they might hear 7 Giraffe Cadillac. I mean, we can totally miss each other. You've probably had that uncomfortable situation happen to you. It's very common. All sorts of reasons. But what I want to suggest is the antidote for effective communication. It goes by a few different names. Speaker-listener technique was developed by the folks at Prep Inc., a great resource for marriage and family education. Covey uses the talking stick. Proactive listening is, I don't know where that comes from. It's probably just a common term that we all know. But again, we make the mistake of thinking just because we can hear, we know how to listen. Not true. Not true. Listening requires a lot more focus, a lot more energy, a lot more effort than just hearing, assuming we don't have hearing difficulties. So let me tell you about the speaker listener technique. And do you have to do this in every occasion? No, no. But if emotion is involved, if it could be a tense conversation, oh yeah, oh yeah. Call the time out, call the time in, and use the speaker listener technique. Very simple, very simple. When you're the speaker, 3 things to focus on. Speak for yourself. You have the stage. You are the only one speaking. That does not give you the right to say you this and you that. No. I feel, I prefer, I'm concerned about. You speak for yourself. I messages. And you keep your communication brief. Don't go on and on and on and on. Step number 3 is you pause every so often, every few sentences perhaps. You pause and you let the other reflect back what they heard in their own words. Well, let me go back to the listener now. So when you're the listener, you've got the harder part. You can only focus on what the speaker has just said. You can't say, yeah, but we don't care. You can't say, I agree or disagree. We don't care. You're the listener, not the speaker. It's the toughest part. So practice, you'll get it. You'll get it. But all you can say is, so what I understand you to say, or what I think you want me to understand, or what you're telling me is, boom. And by the way, use your own words. Don't just parrot back the words that they said. That just shows you have a good memory for words. We don't know if they mean the same to you that they did to them. So capture it in your own words so the speaker can go, yeah, that's what I meant. Okay, good. Now I can add some more. Again, pause, listener. So what you're telling me now is this, this, and this. And the speaker can go, yeah, that's it. Or the speaker might go, no, that's not what I meant. Let me rephrase that. Let me take another run at it. No harm, no foul. The goal here is for us to mutually understand each other, to communicate. So if we missed it, great. We know we missed it. We have a chance to fix it. You know what else the speaker might say? This is so fun. The speaker might say, you know what, you paraphrased exactly what I said, but now that I hear it coming back from you, that's not how I feel. I don't really want that. It's an amazing ability to help us clarify our thoughts. So again, when you're the speaker, speak for yourself. Don't mind read. Don't talk about what you think the other person thinks, feels, whatever. Speak for yourself. Keep it brief. If you go on 20, 30 minutes and say, okay, capture what I just said, you're going to get the deer in the headlights look. It's not going to happen. Speak for yourself. Pause every so often and let the other paraphrase back. When you're the listener, focus everything you got. Turn off that internal mind that's working and rebutting and everything else. Focus on the speaker. And when it's your turn, just tell what you heard. Don't worry if you got it right or not. They'll tell you. You know, so often, folks, we talk to each other in the shoot and reload method of communication. You've probably never heard that term before, but you know exactly what it is. You've done it. That's when you fire off and then you pause while the other babbles on about something, but you're not listening, you're reloading. So you can fire off again. Very common, very hurtful, very ineffective. Speaker listener technique, much better. Talking stick, Covey Corporation has an implement. It's in the other room. I won't get it now, but it's a talking stick. So you know who's the talker, who's the speaker. They've got the stick, the other doesn't. But this can be a talking stick. This can be a talking stick. And anything, a jump drive can be a talking stick. Anything that symbolizes who's in the role of the speaker, who's in the role of the listener, is a perfectly fine implement. When you get back to work and you're in team meetings, great technique. Use the speaker listener technique, especially if it's a rather heated discussion where everybody wants a chance to be heard. They're just going to be heard one at a time. If everybody's talking all at once, nobody's listening. And if nobody's listening, nobody's understanding. So be proactive. Choose to listen to each other. Choose to let the other know you value them enough that you're willing to understand them. Because I'm going to tell you another thing I know about you. You want to be understood by the important people in your life. By the way, it's been that way since birth. You came into this world crying. You wanted people to understand why you were crying. Were you hungry? Were you cold, soiled? Did you just want to be comforted? And then you grew and you became a toddler and you gained some mastery of the English language, but not very much. And you would speak. Have you ever been around a toddler who's trying to be understood and nobody's understanding what they're saying? Is that a fun experience for them? No. Oh, they can get upset. And that never leaves us, folks. We want to be understood. To this day, we want to be understood by the important people in our lives. So give that gift. Let people know, hey, we need to understand each other. You go first. Speak to me politely, respectfully. I'll listen, and I'll prove I understand you. I'm telling you, folks, try it. You'll like it. All right, let's do a review. Boy, we went through all 10. Hold on. We've been through all 10. Here we go. Laugh heartily and often. You know, I forgot to tell you, I love Taylor Mason. Now, that's me. Taylor Mason's a ventriloquist. He plays the piano like I play the radio, and he's funny as all get out. I've seen him live twice in my hometown. Jeff Allen is another one. Totally family friendly. I'm not going to send you to things that you'd be embarrassed to show your kids or yourself for that matter. But Taylor Mason and Jeff Allen, think about who makes you laugh. And again, family friendly, send me those, would you? I'll pass them on to others. But look for DVDs. Maybe you form a network in your neighborhood where you're borrowing funny DVDs from your neighbors and they're borrowing yours. You've watched them once, you'll never watch them again. Funny movies or sitcoms or what have you. Laugh heartily, laugh often, make it a priority. Practice clean start. Practice clean start. You're valuable. Your health is your business, nobody else's. Well, if you're in family, yeah, your health is their business as well. They need you. So send an email to Ron Johnson, would you? sweetpilgrim@yahoo.com. He'll send you the more details of it. But pick 3, 2, 1, 2, or 3 that you're going to focus on for the next 21 days. That's some research says it takes 21 days to establish a habit. Some say 45, some say 60. Practice it until you feel like, yeah, all right, I got it. I'm doing good nutrition, I'm exercising, and I'm drinking water. Okay, now add 1, 2, or 3 more and focus on them. Continue the first, but add some more. In due time, folks, you'll be in much better shape. Check your thoughts. That was tip number 3. Watch out for the CIV, the critical inner voice. I forget, did I tell you that's Dr. Robert Firestone, Dr. Lisa Firestone, if you want to do more research on that. It's great research that we all share that malady. I want you to replace it with the CPV. I made that up, the complementary positive voice. Don't entertain negative thoughts in your mind. Just don't do it. Stop it. Tell yourself to shut up if you need to and move on. 4 is look for the good. I'm telling you, there is good all about you. Is there not so good? Yeah. Oh yeah, come on. But there's a lot of good in your family members, in your coworkers. And if you're looking for that, you're going to find it all the more. Call a timeout the right way. By the way, what's the right way? Thank you. I heard that. You got to schedule the time in. You have the right to choose when you will discuss something. You don't have the right to decide if you will or not, if you want that relationship to be healthy and intact. So you call a timeout, but you let the other person know when you will have the time in. That tip alone, folks, is worth the price of admission. It'll save you so much grief. Number 6, button guard. Identify who pushes your buttons and take away their ability to do that. And by the way, if you see me coming up behind you in the left lane, pull over, would you please? I'd be so grateful. Check your perceptions. Check your perceptions of yourself, of others, of your work, of life. Take some time, quiet time, be by yourself. This is a great time to do that, by the way. We need some quiet time. We got plenty of it available. Evaluate your life. What are your perceptions? How do you look at life? Which ones are working you want to keep, which ones you want to get rid of. EBA, emotional bank account, make deposits, not withdrawals. Play, 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 and communicate with, not against each other. Be proactive in your communication. Folks, those are 10 tips that I just picked out of, I don't know, dozens, if not hundreds, we could have shared. Would you like to know how to identify and address the root causes of ongoing conflict? Chances are you're in a relationship where you just seem to go round and round and round from time to time over the same issues, could be for decades. Well, there's a reason for that, and you can stop that. Would you like to identify and address the 5 germs that sicken relationships? There are 5 common germs that will explain to you why your friends or loved ones got divorced. Maybe why you got divorced. If you know the germs, you can know the antidotes and you can protect against them infecting your relationship. Would you like to be able to voice concerns in a productive manner? You know, you see somebody doing something that you find offensive, you don't like, it's bothering you. There's a right way and a wrong way to tell them that. You tell them the wrong way, it's not going to be pretty. You're not going to get the results you want. You tell them in the right way, they're probably going to respond with, oh man, okay, thanks for bringing that to my attention. I'll work on that. How about, would you like to know what to say when you don't know what to say? That's a lesson I learned, oh, I don't know how many years ago, but it has served me well. I now know what to say when I don't know what to say, and I'd be more than happy to share that with you. Would you like to better understand yourself and others, why you do things the way you do, why they do things the way they do? Well, I got 2 ways you can do all those. 2 ways. One, you can subscribe to this YouTube channel, and please do that anyway. By the way, I'm brand new to YouTube. I'm just starting it up. Your subscription would make a great difference for me, and I'd appreciate that. And by the way, over the coming days, weeks, months, years, I plan to post not so much hour-long, 59-minute webinars, but 5 to 7 minute quick hitters where I'm going to give pointers that you can apply. And if you subscribe, you'll know about them. Second way is you can purchase the Play Nice in Your Sandbox books at a substantial discount. If you go to Amazon, you're going to find Play Nice in Your Sandbox at Work for $20, $19.95. Same with Play Nice in Your Sandbox at Home. That's $40 plus tax and shipping. I'm offering them for $29.95. That includes tax and shipping. So a whale of a deal. If you're interested, send me an email. Here's what I want you to do. Look over the list of items we talked about today. What are you going to start doing? Again, 1, 2, or 3. Which of these tips do you want to implement in your life going forward? Which ones do you want to stop? You know they're causing problems. You've been made aware this morning, this afternoon, whenever you're watching this. You need to stop those behaviors. Which ones do you want to continue? And which ones do you want to change? You know, change is a funny thing. Most people say they resist change. Not true. They resist being changed. In fact, you can think of times when you've made changes in your life, and those might be on your list of 100. Times you changed a job, you moved, you did whatever, brought joy. You can also think of times when people told you you're going to change and you didn't like that. You didn't like that at all. So make a list, 1, 2, or 3 items. Start, stop, continue, or change. You'll be glad you did. It'll make this time much more valuable, I promise. So you might have questions, you might have comments. I hope you have suggestions. Here's how you can get them to me. Send me an email at ron@playniceinyoursandbox.com. Let's continue this discussion. If you have other ideas that I can add to some of those broadcasts that I'm going to be doing in the coming days, weeks, and months, please share them. I'd love to add them to the list. ron@playniceinyoursandbox.com. I can tell we are run out of time. We're right at about 59 minutes. So I guess, folks, there's just one more thing to do. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. No, that's too kind. That's too kind. That's also enough. Hey, God bless you. Keep your family and your sanity intact. We're going to get past this coronavirus. Hopefully, we're going to be stronger as a result. That's my hope, my prayer. Thanks again for joining me today. Bye for now.